Next, Mr. McDonald.
Next is Pete Stoltz from Glacier Northwest.
Mr. Stoltz, and do you have a presentation to put up on the screen tonight, or is it just verbal?
Just verbal.
All right.
And I know you have a substantial agenda tonight, so I'm going to try to keep it brief. So good evening, Mayor, members. Tonight I'm here representing Glacier Northwest, now a Cal Portland company, in support of the MOU. I am Pete Stoltz. I'm a biologist and I'm the permit manager with Cal Portland. Cal Portland is a modern mining company with a commitment to environmental responsibility locally and regionally. We have a rich history in this area. The companies that comprise Cal Portland began mining in Stillicum over 100 years ago. We were here before Fort Lewis or the DuPont company. We support the community and regularly contribute to and participate in activities for the community, including those interested in improving flows in Sequatchie Creek. We are here to express our support for the MOU. This MOU lays out a process for the parties to collaborate on an objective review of options that improve conditions in the creek and meet the needs of our company. We continue to believe that the project we proposed is consistent with the commitment we made in 1994 settlement agreement, but we have also heard the concerns of the community. The MOU is not a decision on or an approval of any project. It designates a starting point in a collaborative process towards a workable solution. And we're looking forward to working with the city, ecology, and the environmental caucus towards a positive outcome.
Council, is there any questions for Mr. Stoltz? Questions? Councilmember Graham?
I have one. The understanding, as I read through this MOU, that a lot of the intent is to help restore Sequatchie Creek, and as you've talked about, your company's contributions to the community, and this is an important aspect of this, is helping contribute to the betterment of Sequatchie Creek. From your perspective, can you share any of the proposals or things that you're thinking of that would help lead us down that path towards restoring or protecting Sequatchie Creek, consistent with your operation that you're proposing?
Well, as Tom Skirvold said, there's a lot of issues and a lot of opportunities. And, the way we wrote the MOU was really to focus on three issues, and they're ones that have been present for a long time. One is, how do you get water from Sequatchie Lake through Sequatchie Marsh and down into the upper reaches of Sequatchie Creek? The second issue is really our concern about how can we take care of the water for the mining operation. And then the third one is, how can we improve habitat conditions at the mouth of Sequatchie Creek? There's a variety of different options, and I think the first step in the process is to get the stakeholders together and really brainstorm what all the alternatives are. I would suspect that, constructing a creek might be one of the options. Constructing a creek might be an option. Infiltrating the water elsewhere might be one of the options. So I would really, we're open. We just want to find a workable solution.
Councilmember Westman?
Yes. In looking over the MOU, my first reaction was that it was very biased. Now, you're a participant in the writing of the MOU, and I'd like to explain that, and I'd like you to put my biases, my fears of it being biased aside. On page 67, it says that the preliminary study alternatives, it is anticipated that the primary study alternatives will include the mine dewatering alternative described in Glacier's land use application to the city. Sounds like that's a little dictatorial, saying, hey, you have to consider that. And then on page 69 of our record here, it indicates anticipated issues for discussion include the settlement issue, preferred dewatering method for north and south partial mining operations. I guess what concerns me most is that I see dewatering in the you in 2 locations. And does that not shadow and give a bias to the extent that dewatering is a matter of fact, in fact, I put down here a foregone conclusion? Is it an alternative, or is it a mandate? Exactly where does dewatering fit into this settlement process?
That's a really good question. You know, what the MOU tries to do is really kind of put a box around where the negotiations are so that they can be a little bit more focused on kind of what the different parties' priorities are. In that respect, from Glacier's perspective, it's important for us to have a source of material, and dewatering is a very, very important and likely requirement as part of that. It could be, now that said, there could be you know, different ways to do that, different amounts of areas or different areas that are dewatered. I mean, there's a lot of options here, but you know, in order for us to, I mean, basically, if we don't dewater, then we don't mine this proposed expansion area, and there's no longer any need for the MOU. So that's kind of central to the question here.
Councilmember Westman, did you have a follow-up?
I'll think about it and come back later.